Hello there, this is another update following on swiftly from my last, which isn't always the way things work out, so yeah, there you go. That's good or bad, that depends on your point of view, I guess. Anyway, yeah, more Parthians, yeah, which seems to be what I've been doing mostly recently. Good news, I think, from my perspective, is I'm pretty much done with this project now, to be honest. Basically got the figures painted, based, we'll put some sort of showcase together at some point, I guess. The only thing I've got left, I've got about a dozen spearmen left to do. I've done one unit of those. I'm not sure I'm ever going to field two, so it doesn't feel like they're particularly urgent. So they may go in the pile of stuff needed to complete a project that never actually ends up getting done, which is a pile that's growing bigger. But that's another story. I may get back to them someday, we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, basically this is done. I've got more than enough for a game. So just waiting to be allowed out to play again now. Yeah, so these are basically the series of command bases and command figures we're going to put up, which was the last things I did. These are all figures from one little group that aren't, but I'll explain that when we get there. But yeah, basically they're figures from Aventine and A&A Miniatures, which are both so compatible that I couldn't tell you which are which, to be honest. I think I bought one command pack from A&A, which was a sort of personality pack, and then I bought various command packs from Aventine. But as I say, I can't remember which are which. So, but there's pictures on the website if you were really keen to work it out. So I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could work it out if you needed to. Yeah. So this would be base for the to be. I'd sort of see this three figures on this as being the main command base of the army. What I've done as well is I've got them so that the figures can come out. That way, when you see a few more, you see there's a few more, so I can move them around and give them some variety. And the other thing is, so I say this every time, but I play to the strongest quite a lot with these, and that's what I will be playing with them to start with. And you need to get units in small boxes sometimes, which means that base there, which I think might be an 80 by 80, 80 mil diameter or something, which is going to be way too big for to fit in a box with a unit. So when I'm playing to the strongest, when I want a general, I can just take him out and there's my general. But yeah, it'd be nice when I'm playing some other games, different games, which afford me the scope to have these sort of big diorama bases. Then yeah, I can do that. So that's the idea. So yeah, as I say, we've got one particular general there with a drummer. I know the drummer was an Aventine figure because they sent that to me as a freebie, which was really nice of them. I did put in quite a big order, to be fair, but when it arrived, everything was there, present and correct, and that was on the side in a little packet. It wasn't a figure I'd seen on the website, I don't think, so it was, yeah, it was really good to get because it fits in really nicely and it's yeah, different. So I was pleased with that. So they are that's the first command base. Yeah, another one. You'll spot the theme soon. Yeah, we've got two on this one. These, as I say, last one was three, so that'd probably be the Commander-in-Chief. This would be a sub-commander, but he's got a standard there with him. Need to get one of those turntables ready. The lighting's not brilliant. I'll put some stills up at the end, which might help a little bit. But yeah, they are second command base. Nice figures. Enjoy painting them. It's difficult to know where to go with the colours because you can be pretty outrageous if you want to be with these sorts of figures, and go for some fairly bright and wild colour combinations. But which I wanted to do to some extent, but at the same time I wanted to make them a little bit relatively realistic and maybe sort of slightly muted at the same time. So fine balance to strike, I think. Some of the colours may have achieved it and others maybe not, but yeah, so I like the look of them anyway. So that's the second one. As I say, we'll put some stills up at the end so you can have a better look if you're in mind to do so. And third one. So again, these are all interchangeable because the way I've set the bases up. Again, obviously Aventine and A&A Miniatures. The basing is just it's just basically builder's sand, and then it's got the little bits of stone in there, which I'm never too sure about. I have got some of it that I've sort of sieved out and taken out the stones, which would probably be more realistic for this sort of thing. I mean, you see, although they're very very small, the shards of stone in there, you're thinking compared to the figure, they're quite large. If horses were galloping around on those, they'd probably break their hooves break their legs in no time. But they do add a bit of texture, so and a bit of interest to the base. So I've kept them in there. Obviously as well with some clump foliage and tufts and things just to sort of brighten it up again. So yeah, that's the third base. Stills to follow if you want a closer look. And this is the last one. This is a little bit different because this is actually Warlord Games figures. Got from Warlord Games. I did a little bit on them. They were the first ones of these I bought. I did a little bit on them a while ago. They're okay figures. I quite like them when I first got them, but then I got the Aventine and figures in particular, and I realised they're not as good as I maybe thought they were initially. They're okay, but they are very very small. That's the only issue with them. But I'll keep. Yeah, this will be the last command base I use. If I need 4, then this will be the 4th one. If I need 3, then this one won't get used probably. But yeah, they're okay. Again, just a leader, standard bearer, different type of banner this time. But yeah, they come out okay. They look a little bit shiny on here, but they don't look so bad to the naked eye. The other interesting, well, to me at least, interesting thing with these, they were my first attempt at with contrast paints. I sort of heard that lots of people say they're good for horses. I didn't use them on the riders, but people say they're good for horses, so I gave them a go. These ones didn't go so well because I think I'd undercoated them grey, and then what I normally do is put a wash of dark tone over the top to sort of highlight the details before I paint. And I think by doing that, I just made it way too dark for the contrast paint. So these haven't come out brilliantly, the horses actually, but I've decided not to go back and do them again. As I say, it's not that often I'm going to use this command base. But I have done other horses since, a couple of others since, just to try it out just with the normal grey primer, without the dark tone over the top. And actually that comes out pretty well with the contrast paint, so that might be the way to go in future for horses. I don't particularly want to use the contrast for anything else at this stage because I'm sort of happy with the way I paint things, and I quite enjoy the way I paint things. I'm not great with change, so I'm reluctant to change that too much. I was willing to give them a go with horses because, like a lot of people, I'm not big on painting horses. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's an experiment that's going to work. I didn't quite get it right this time, but I know what I got wrong and how to avoid that again. So yes, that's the final command base. What I've got as well is just a few extra figures that were sort of left over. I probably could make another base for these if I wanted to. There's the two guys on the left is there's an officer and arguably there's a leader and a musician there, so I could probably make another base if I wanted to. I think what probably happened actually is I ran out of the circular bases, but at some point I may buy another one and make that up as well. But yeah, a couple of nice figures. I can slot them into what I've got if I want to change things up. Guy there with a horn at the back, and this is the Warlord guy. The extra Warlord guy, and this is where you can see the difference in scale. Absolutely unbelievable. So if you can fully appreciate that, it's just, it's not a case that the Warlord one is a mile away. Here they are next to each other, and it's just a fraction of the size. So there's no way you'd put those on a base together because they would just look absolutely mad. But yeah, so if you keep the Warlord ones to themselves, they're not too bad. They'll work. Yeah, so that's it really. I think that's that army pretty much finished now. I've probably whittled on about these for far too long, so I'll leave it there, and we'll just put a few stills up at the end. But yes, the next thing, going back to Napoleonics for a little bit, I've dug out some more French voltigeurs that I wanted from Sharp Practice Force. sort of working my way through a dozen of those, so that'll probably be the next thing to come up. And then after that I'm looking at maybe doing some French dragoons. I've sort of built up 16 of them on horse and a dozen on foot, which will give me sort of 2 groups for sharp practice, and made a couple of leaders. I did a few conversions with the Perry's plastic box, which I was quite pleased with. I'll maybe put those up and talk about that a little bit when I've painted them. But otherwise, that's what's next. That's what we've just done. So I think my job here is done. So thanks very much for watching, as usual. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your comments. Really appreciated. Really enjoying everyone else's videos, so keep those coming as well. Seeing some really good stuff out there, which very interesting, inspirational stuff, and keeps you occupied while you're painting. So thanks very much. Look after yourselves, and we'll speak to you again soon. Take care.